On Monday, a new four-part story begins with the three doctors appearing together for the only time in the programme's history. So, John Pertwee is joined by his predecessors, Patrick Troughton and William Hartnell, in the first three of the 5 Faces of Doctor Who at 5:40 on Monday.
Hold up, we're all here rehearsing for the new series of the Oxford Road Show, starting from this studio live tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
There'll be music from Japan, the band that is, and a slice of alternative humour from 20th Century Coyote. Film reports, discussions and some other bits we haven't even thought up yet.
What matters is that you take part. Phone us up during the programme, write virulent letters, but get involved. So remember, the weekend starts tomorrow night on BBC2 live at 7 o'clock.
Now, a short season of movies starring the film world's most notorious creatures is launched by that memorable monster, King Kong.
Gorilla G. Gorilla is the title of tonight's 40 Minutes programme, which was filmed at Gerald Durrell Zoo in Jersey.
One can breed these animals, but you can only return them to the wild if there is a wild there to return them to. And if the destruction of habitat and hunting goes on at the present rate, probably in, 20 or 30 years, gorillas will be unknown in the wild. So your grandchildren won't be able to go to Africa and look at a gorilla. They'll have to come here and look at a gorilla.
Breeding gorillas in captivity can be seen in 40 Minutes tonight at 9:30. Well, the time now is just half a minute after 7:40. And time on 2 for the news summary from Louise Batchelor.
Good evening. And the main story tonight, Labour MPs have chosen their new shadow cabinet, and Tony Benn isn't in it. Our chief political correspondent, Brian Curtoys, is in our Westminster studio with the details.
Sufficient Labour MPs heeded Michael Foot's advice not to vote Mr Benn back onto the shadow cabinet, but he secured 66 votes, 16 away from election, an indication that a number of MPs believe that Mr Benn can't be ignored, and he said tonight that he was very pleased with the result. The overall effect of the election for the enlarged shadow cabinet of 15 members shows that the centre-right has a 2-to-1 majority over the left wing. Top of the poll was Peter Shaw. There are 5 newcomers compared with last year's team. The one left-winger is Eric Heffer. The other 4 are Brynmore John, Labour's defence spokesman who's strongly opposed to nuclear disarmament, Peter Archer, Bruce Millen and Gwyneth Dunwoody, who won a place on Labour's national executive last month. Now back to Louise Batchelor.
Now this and tonight's other stories with subtitles. In the shadow cabinet elections, Mr Tony Benn has lost his place on the front bench, but with 66 votes got more support than expected. Mr Peter Shaw topped the poll with 147 votes. The shadow cabinet's been enlarged from 12 to 15 members. Of the 5 newcomers to the front bench, there's one left-winger, Mr Eric Heffer, who was briefly in the shadow cabinet before. The Royal Ulster Constabulary has warned that the IRA is trying to provoke Protestants into extreme action. In its statement, the RUC says the IRA is intent on murdering leading citizens to try to create total disorder. It advises all people at risk to take every precaution and appeals for vigilance from the entire community. As funerals took place today for 3 more victims of Northern Ireland violence, another part-time member of the UDR has been shot dead in Strabane. Workers in a major power station in Ballylumford say they'll join Ian Paisley's Day of Action on Monday. It could bring industry to a halt. The board game manufacturers Waddingtons are at the centre of a controversy over a board game they produce called Bombshell. The game, which is for 6-year-olds and over, is won by the player whose soldier survives the bomb. The complaint was made by Stephen Howarth, son of bomb expert Ken Howarth, who died last month in Oxford Street, defusing an IRA bomb. Waddingtons say they mean no offence to the outstanding bravery of bomb experts, but they won't be withdrawing the game. ICL, Britain's biggest computer firm, are making 1,500 more workers redundant, only 5 months after announcing 5,000 job losses. The new cuts include closing down Plymouth Grove factory in Manchester, which employs 350 workers. Tomorrow, British Leyland workers employed in the truck and bus division, Leyland Vehicles, will be told that several thousand jobs are to go. The job losses would follow a proposal for a big reorganisation of the division. Labour MP Stan Thorpe called for a Commons emergency debate, but it was turned down. And British Leyland workers at Longbridge decided to continue their strike until a further mass meeting on Sunday. Over 350 workers at 2 BL plants in Llanelli have been laid off because of the strike, bringing the total number of workers affected to over 6,000. The strike's over company plans to reduce rest periods to compensate for shorter working hours. Newsnight at 10:45 reports from Scotland on an accident involving a Poseidon nuclear missile, which it now appears might not have been as harmless as the American Navy would have us all believe. John Tusa will be taking a detailed look at the result of the shadow cabinet election and talking to Dennis Healy, among others. And in the sporting world, the pitch used by Queen's Park Rangers in London. It's artificial turf, and other teams are claiming it gives QPR an unfair advantage. That's Newsnight at 10:45. Now look at the weather.
In parts of eastern Scotland and northeast England, a slight frost is likely at first this evening, lifting later. Most of Britain will have some rain or drizzle during the night, and in northern Scotland there'll be a period of snow, particularly on the mountains, with some drifting. It will become quite windy too. Tomorrow, Scotland and Northern Ireland will quickly get into clearer weather, but still with some showers in the west. Northern England and Wales will see the clearer weather too in the afternoon, but other parts of England will have rain or drizzle at times. Temperatures tomorrow will be much the same as today, perhaps a little higher in the south. Peter Fluck is a country parson, rector of the biggest Church of England parish group in the country, and he's the subject of Living on the Land in 15 minutes. After tonight's Tex Avery double bill.